Hi guys, so I haven't done a video in a while, so I figured I would just do a little short one to talk about where and how we planted our blueberries. So our yard has a drainage system along the back of the house where when it rains, everything goes to this one drain and it comes down the house underground, and then it slopes along the back of the house here and it curves over there, and I'll show you, and it makes the lowest spot in our yard almost like a marsh area, and we only have 3 acres, and it kind of makes it an unusable space to grow a lot of things that don't like their feet to get wet, as they say. So when we were looking at a place to put our blueberry plants, I decided to try a method. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I believe it's called a hookah culture bed. Basically, it's kind of like a layering of different things. So what I did was, we have had to cut down quite a few trees. As you can see, all of this debris here is because there was 3 very large trees right along the back of the house. Our well is just over here right next to the house, and as I was planting some shallow rooted things around the well, I noticed that there was tree roots from these trees. So that's a big no-no for me, so we cut the trees down. But we're also planting a whole bunch of trees. So yes, it's going to destroy some habitat. It's going to take years to develop the new trees, but the new trees are going to be more useful for us. They're also going to be fruit trees, so they're going to draw in more, pollinators and different things. So, and the birds will still be able to nest in them and everything. So, so what we did for the blueberries, because we have been chopping down so many trees, and I did this last year, was I took a bunch of tree branches off of our little pile over by our fire pit, and I put them, like, I dug probably about 2 to 3 feet down in this low area, and I put a whole bunch of really big logs in there, and I used that dirt that I had dug out to then fill it back in, and it got down in between all of the cracks and crevices of the wood. Then I put down compost. I put down, what else did I put down? So I didn't use up all the dirt either. I did probably about half, and then I did like compost, I did straw, I did wood chips, I did some peat moss after I filled the rest of the dirt, and I did a layer of peat moss because blueberries are shallow rooted. So I wanted the peat moss to be in an area that was closer to where the root systems were gonna be. And then I topped it all off with more straw. And then, since it was the compacted straw from Tractor Supply, and I did all of this, I think it was last spring, and I planted the blueberries in it last spring. And then in the fall, I added another layer of straw, and I did have some sprouting because it was the compacted straw from Tractor Supply. So what I did was I just went in when, that the straw, the wheat sprouts were about this big, and I just pulled them all out. And because they were still small and not established yet, they were super easy to pull out of the straw. But that is one thing, if you're using, like that compacted straw from Tractor Supply, you're probably going to have some seeds in it. So it's just something to keep in mind. But it worked out really well. The blueberries loved it. Like, they're still kind of small because they were brand new last spring when I planted them. So this is the first winter that they've gone through. It is now April, or no, I'm sorry, it's March. It's March 6th or 7th right now. So they went through all of last spring, all the way through the winter up until now. And so they're starting to, set off some new growth, but they're not really fully woken up yet. But they are growing really nicely, and they seem to really like what I did for them, what little thing that I made for them. And it made a usable space out of something that was not usable. So yeah, I'll take you guys over and show you it, and kind of explain a little bit more about what I did, but I basically just went over all of what I did. So if you have any questions, you can always let me know in the comments. Okay, so as you can see, this is the low spot. So what happens is, there's a downspout off the back corner of the house, and it wraps around through here, comes behind the well. That's the well right there. And it goes through here, and there's the low spot. And if we get a really big rain, this spreads out quite a bit. And here is the blueberry bed. And since this is all a pretty decent low spot, it does get really wet here. So, but you can see it's definitely built up about a foot off of the ground. It's a raised bed with the blueberries. This one was the smallest out of all of them. And you can see it's already starting to, it's not gonna let me focus very easily, but it is starting to set off some little buds there. This one got way bigger. It was the size of this one right here, and it just got huge, and it's starting to set out buds. I wish this would focus. It's just because there's too much going on. Yeah, it's not gonna focus, but there it did. There we go. Okay, so you can see there's buds on that one. Same thing with this one. There's buds on it. And as you can see, this is where the old growth was, right here, if it'll focus. There's like a line. I can't get it to focus, I'm sorry. But there's a line right there, and what it did is from this line, you have the old and then the new going all the way up. And you can see even here, the old woody stems versus the new growth. And then we have one more little guy on the end. And I topped it off in the fall with rabbit manure as well, because that's something that you can you're supposed to be able to just put it directly on plants. I'm not a huge fan of putting, you know, fresh manure directly on plants, but I will side dress certain things. Nothing like lettuce or kale, no leafy greens. I don't side dress those because I think, you know, those are things that you're going to be pretty much rinsing and eating, or I just pick sometimes right out of the garden and eat. So I don't want fresh manure on those when I'm going to be just eating them out of the garden. But things like blueberries, you can side dress because they have the tall stems and the growth of the things you're going to be eating is up higher. But yeah, so that's my little blueberry bed. We have a lot more new plants coming this year. We have some fruit trees. We have another peach tree, a couple of apple trees. What else do we have? Some more grapes, raspberries. We got an all-season raspberry package. It's 3 or 4 different types, and it comes with like 3, I think, of each kind. What else did we get? A Apricot tree and a not tangerine. I don't know. We got a lot of fruit trees. I will do a separate video as they start coming in, but actually I can show you what we already have right now. Apricot, that's what it is. We got an Apricot, an apricot, 2 peach trees, and an apple tree right now. And then we have more coming from a different company. So Gurney's actually, and I have to pull my glasses up because they get really glary in here. Gurney's actually sent us our tree order early. A lot of places will allow you to kind of select a date for like future shipment, and Gurney's did not. So we now have 5 fruit trees sitting in our garage that we weren't planning on, but we are making do, and it seems to be working out just fine. So this is our little setup here for our fruit trees, and I'm going to come around this way so you can see it a little bit better. So I actually have it on metal pieces on the inside of the garage track, so it's not going to affect the doors opening and closing. And I have this light set up here. This is 4,000 lumens, I believe, of a shop light from, I think, Lowe's, but it could be Menards, I'm not sure. My husband bought it. But so right here we have an apricot tree, and it's very small. I was kind of disappointed in this one just because of how small it is, and it actually came, and I'm not going to be able to zoom in very well, but see, that's broken right there. So I'm thinking about emailing Gurney's, but I stuck it in dirt, and we're going to see what happens. Because they literally ship these all in a box, just stacked on top of each other with nothing in between. So this one is the Apricot tree, And actually, I am already seeing growth on this one from when I originally bought it, or when we originally received it. So I'm gonna see all these little bumps here? These were not here. So this is where all of the new growth is gonna come out. It doesn't look like it's alive right now, but this was not here when we got it a week ago. So this is new growth. Now the peach trees came super green and already had the little buds on them. But even that, since we've got it, they've gotten quite a bit bigger. All the way around, the size of the trees, other than the apricot, I'm really happy with. The sizes are supposed to be between 2 and 4 feet. And the apricot is obviously probably about 2 feet. It's pretty small. But even the necticot is clear up here. This is just below my breastbone right here. So you're looking at 4 foot, 4 foot, 4 foot. Actually, yeah, that's like 4.5 feet. And then same with this one on the end. So this is our apple tree. And I don't know why. It looks like they kind of pruned off all the growth going all the way down it, except for this little stem here and this one here. So I don't really know exactly why they pruned it the way that they did, but as you can see, we are getting some new growth. So, and actually, if it'll let me zoom in, let me see. There we go. Do you see how green that is? That's a bud coming out. So that one looks good, and that's encouraging because I was wondering if it might be dead or something crazy. And then another peach tree on the end. So this one is the Contender peach. Then Honeycrisp apple. And I'm not a huge fan of Honeycrisp apples, but the reason we got it is because it's a long store. So like over winter, we can still have fresh apples. This is the Reliance peach. Then we have the Honey Pearls Necticot. And we have the Sugar Pearls, I believe. Yeah, Sugar Pearls Apricot. And we weren't going to get the Necticot, but... And if you're interested in me like talking and doing a separate video about how we start our seeds, we have a greenhouse in our garage. We also have in our workshop over there, we have another small unheated greenhouse. This greenhouse here we heat with a small heater. We also have a little fan in there for air circulation. We also have another setup specifically for our tomatoes inside in our downstairs area with lights coming down from the ceiling. So if you're interested in any of that, please let me know in the comments below and I can do a separate video for you. Have a great day, guys.